Good morning, everybody. I hope you had a great longer weekend and you're ready to learn some more about decimals and fractions. Objective today, we're continuing basically what we did on Thursday. I can identify and read decimal numbers. I'll know I'm successful if I can explain how decimals are related to fractions. So that's your goal to be able to do today. So, got a question for you. How many hundredths are in 8/10? So pretend this is yellow too, but how many hundredths would be in this part of this picture? 8/10, these are tenths when you count them as strips. And if you count them as little bitty units, they are hundredths. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in each one. So we've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 hundredths. So 8/10 is equal to 80 hundredths. If you're thinking of money, you could think of this as being 8 dimes and this being 80 pennies. Now, 8 dimes is worth 80 cents. 80 pennies is worth 80 cents. So they're equal. Now, I need you to open up the Pear Deck link, and you're going to want the video and your Pear Deck link probably going on side by side. So you want to split your screen, and your first slide is draw and write this decimal in words. So I want you to draw it first. Now, I want you to think of this as being one whole number, one whole. This would be 1/10, and this would be 1/100th when you're drawing this. So this one will do pretty much together, but I want you to think about this. If you were to just see 5/9, you would say 59, right? So in this, you're going to say it as 59 also. But think about the place of this 9. So this place is the tenths. This is the hundredths. So you've got 59 hundredths. So when we make this as a picture, we would need 5 of these strips and 9 of these units. So to draw this decimal, we need 5 of these, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the tenths place, and these are tenths. Then we need 9 of the units. So 59 hundredths. And then go ahead and write it out here, 59 hundredths. So when we write it in words, we need a word for 59 and the word hundredths, which is 100 with THS. 59 hundredths. Remember to pause the video anytime you're still working, because I'm moving kind of fast because I don't have you in front of me, so I can't tell exactly how fast you're going, and because I know you can pause me, which is something that the seated kids cannot do. All right, the next one, assuming you're ready for it. Draw and write this decimal in words. 1 and 31 hundredths. Remember that every mat you draw is what's in the whole number place. So we've got a 1 in the whole number place. So we should only have one mat when we draw it. 31 hundredths. So this is the tenths place. These are tenths. So we should have how many of the tenths? 3. And then this is the hundredths, which are these little bitty units. So we should have one of those. So 1 and 1, 2, 3, 31 hundredths. So you're going to write it the same way. 1 and 31 hundredths, the same way that you would read it. 1 and 31 hundredths. So this is very similar to what you're going to be doing with your assignment today. Write the decimal and fraction for each collection in the table below. So here are the collections. And in this column, you're going to write the decimal for each collection. And here you're going to write the fraction for each collection. You need to remember what each of these are worth. A mat is in the ones place. So however many mats you have, that's what's going to be on the left side of the decimal. These strips, remember strips are tenths because it takes 10 of them to make a mat. And those are just to the right of the decimal, like where a dime would be. And here are your hundredths, like the pennies. Those are 2 places to the right of the decimal. So do we have, your first question, do we have any ones? There aren't any mats, so we don't have any ones. Well, what do we have in the tenths place? We happen to have 1, 2 in the tenths place. So we know so far that it's 0.2. And then look at how many hundredths we have. 1, 2, 3, 4 hundredths. So that would be on the other side of our tenths. So we have 0, because there aren't any mats, 24 hundredths. Remember, the last name is the place value of your last digit. So 24 hundredths is how we say it. And when we're going to write a fraction for that, 24 hundredths, think about how that fraction would look. 24 hundredths. We've got 24 on the top and 100 on the bottom. 24 hundredths. All right, let's do the next one. First of all, do we have any ones? Yes, we've got 1 mat, so that means that we have 1 in the ones place. Okay, so we know it's going to be 1, then a decimal point. Look here, we've got 1, 2, 3 tenths. So there's going to be a 3 in the tenths place. And we have 1, 2, 2 in the hundredths place. So we have 1 and 32 hundredths. Remember, hundredths is the place of the 2, so that's the last name of our number. Now, it's a little different when we write the fraction, though, because we're going to have a mixed number. Remember, a mixed number means that you have a whole number and you have a fraction. So here we've got 1 and 32 hundredths. So this is 24 hundredths, but we didn't have a whole number here. So it's going to look a lot like that, except we need a big 1. 1 and 32 hundredths. 1 and 32 over 100. I want you to try this next one on your own. Think first. What would be in the whole number spot? How many tenths do you have? How many hundredths? Think that through. Count your mats. Then you've got your decimal point. How many strips do you have? Those are your tenths. How many hundredths? Ready? So we have 1, 2 in the ones place. Then we have a decimal point. Then we've got 1 tenth. And how many hundredths? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hundredths. So our number is 2 and 15 hundredths. So write that as a fraction. It's going to be a mixed number again because you have a whole number and you have a fraction. 2 and 15 hundredths, 15 over 100. So it should look like this, 2 and 15 over 100, 2 and 15 hundredths. Okay, hope it's getting easier. Okay, so this is a little bit different. You're going to be drawing those base 10 pieces. Sketch base 10 pieces to show the minimal collection for each decimal. Then write the number as a fraction. Here's a little vocab for you. A minimal collection is one that uses the fewest possible number of pieces. So you don't want to use a whole bunch of tenths if you should be using, or a whole bunch of units perhaps, if you could use your tenths. So here we have 5 tenths. draw in how you would show that with base 10 pieces. So first off, do you have any ones? No, so you wouldn't have any mats. Remember, a mat is a square. So look at the tenths place. You have 5 tenths. So think about, well, what do we use to show tenths? Those are the strips. So we need 5 strips. Okay. So it's important that we would use 5 strips then instead of 50 units. Even though it'd be the value would be the same, it asked for a minimal collection. Now think about how to write that as a fraction. 5 tenths. Write that over here. 5 tenths. So remember that would be 5 over 10. 5 tenths. Okay. Do this next one. Remember the whole number first. Move myself up here a little bit. Whole number is your mats, your number of mats. So we do have something in the ones place, so we do have to draw a mat. Then 24 hundredths. So 2 tenths, 4 hundredths. Do you have it drawn? So we've got one mat, one and, there's 1 tenth, 2 tenths, and 1, 2, 3, 4 hundredths. So 1 and 24 hundredths. Remember that last name is the place value of your last digit. So now write this as a fraction. Remember, it's going to be a mixed number, 1 and 24 hundredths. So we've got a big 1, and then we have a fraction. It's kind of like saying you have $1 and 24 cents out of 100, because it would take 100 to make another dollar. So we've got 1 and 24 hundredths, 24 over 100. All right, last one on this page, 61 hundredths. But remember, don't draw it all in hundredths. You've got 6 in the tenths place. You have 1 in the hundredths place. So that's how you should draw it. Draw your tenths, then draw your hundredths. Got it? Pretty simple on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hundredths, or tenths. So sorry. 1 hundredth, 61 hundredths. So we want to write that as a fraction. 61 hundredths, 61 over 100. All right, let's go forward. We're almost done. Put the following numbers in order on the number line below. So this is very similar to something on your assignment today. The first thing I need you to do any old time you get a number line, okay, is look at where does it begin and where does it end. Then you can figure out what's in between. So this one begins at 0. It ends at 3. So, or ends at 2. Your assignment's going to end at 3. It ends at 2. So halfway between 0 and 2 is 1. Now look at your fractions that you're given. Which ones are going to be to the left of the 1, so they're smaller than a whole, and which ones are bigger than a whole, so they're going to be between 1 and 2? Well, I know that 1 and 1/2 is more than 1, so it's going to go over here. I know that 1 and 3/4 is bigger than 1, so it's going to go over here. And 1 and 1/4 is bigger than 1, so it's going to go over here. Okay, that narrows it down. I've got this one, and this one are going to go on this side of 1. That leaves me with 1/2, 3/5, 1/4, and 7/8. So let's go ahead and we'll work on this left side, and then we'll do our mixed numbers. So let's think about the ones that would be easy. 1/2. I can do 1/2. 1/2 is going to be found halfway between 0 and 1. So we have a spot right here for that. We've got a box right here for 1/2. So let's go ahead and write 1/2 in there. on your slide. All right, so that one's done. Let's go to the next easy one that's on this side. 1/4. So think about 1/2 again. How many fourths are equal to 1/2? 2. So that means that 1/4 would be half of half. So it's going to go over here in this box. So go ahead and write in your 1/4 over here. So far we know 1/4 and we know 1/4 and we know 1/2. And so now we have 3/5 and we have 7/8. So think about let's go with this one. This one's a little easier than thinking about this one. So how many eighths does it take to make a whole? Take 8/8, right? So 7/8 is going to be just less than one whole. So this would be the spot for 7/8. So go ahead and write in your 7/8. By process of elimination, you are only left then with 3/5. So this box would be where you'd put 3/5. So see, you've already got over half of them placed now. You're only left with our mixed numbers. So I'll go ahead and populate those. Now our mixed numbers. We have 1 1/2, 1 3/4, 1 1/4. This one doesn't have the same bottom number. So again, remember, how many fourths does it take to make 1/2? It takes 2/4, right? So 1 2/4 is the same as 1/2, 1 1/2. So now we've got 1 1/4, 1 2/4, 1 3/4 to place, and we have spots for those. So we've got 1 1/4 to go here, 1 1/2 to go here, 1 3/4 to go here. So when you work on your number line today, I want you to start off thinking about the ones that are easiest to place, and then work your way around from there. Now yours has 0 to 3, and it doesn't have any markings on it. I went ahead and did one of them for you just to give you an idea of where 2 would fall on the line. So work from there. So this is what your assignment looks like. Write the decimal and fraction for each collection in the table below. So you've got a picture. You're going to come up with the decimal and the fraction, just like what we worked with. Then on the next page, sketch base 10 pieces to show the minimal collection for each decimal. Then write the number as a fraction. A minimal collection is one that uses the fewest possible number of pieces. And I have made these up so that you don't need to sketch. You can just pull them up, whatever you need, and you should have plenty there for finishing this page. And last but never least, here, the last page, you have a number line. Notice it goes from 0 to 3, like I said. You only have 4 decimals to place on the number line, and I already placed 1 99/100 for you to let you know that 2 is super close to this. Now that also tells you that 1 must be right around here. So then keep in mind, if these are less than 1, that they would be in this section on the number line. Number 4, the value of the mat is 1. How many tenths are shaded? Remember that a strip is a tenth. Then how many hundredths are shaded? Remember, hundredths are the individual little units. How do you know? And that's it. Make sure you do one session of extra math till it says you are done. And then have a wonderful Tuesday, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Let me know if you need anything. Oh, and today, can you tell me your favorite color in the comments? All right, that's great. Have a great day. Bye, guys.